In this activity, we're going to be looking at how to paint 3D objects and how to paint their values. So I have some 3D objects here, and I want to show you kind of what those shadows look like. So we've got a couple things. You've got a light source. The light source is actually coming from the window. So it's a natural light source. And where it hits, so the brightest part where it hits is called the highlight. And then the midtones are kind of in here. Here would be the highlight, and then the midtones would be around here. Because it's bright light, we don't have as many really dark shadows, but in real life and in harsher light, you would probably have more of those. So you've got your sort of mid-tones right here, and then your core shadow is around here. So this is all the really dark area. It's darker than everything else. That's your core shadow. And then your cast shadow is what's behind it. So you can see a little bit here, and then a little bit under here that the shadow is what it makes when the light is on. So if I were to turn the light on, you would see kind of a big shadow extending out here. That's the area on your paper where there's no light because your object is blocking it. So in here, for example, if we were looking at just a ball in general, you'd have a light source. If your light source is coming from here, your light source is hitting here. That's your highlight. Your midtones are where it's gradually getting from lightest to medium and then to the darkest, and the darkest is farthest away from the light, and then your cast shadow is on the surface that your object is sitting on. So in real life and in your activity here, this is what it will look like. So you've got your highlight. You're going to show where the sun is coming from, and then you'll be blending out and then putting in your low light. Your cast shadow here is darkest underneath your object, and then it gets lighter as it goes away from your object, because then the light is able to get around your object and hit it more. The first assignment, you're going to draw a circle, and then you're going to identify a light source. So the light source can be the sun, something like that. So I've identified my light source here. And then you're going to choose a color. So for me, I'm going to go black and white and blue. So I'm going to use kind of my most basic colors here. And I'm going to use a small flat brush. I find that those are kind of a little bit more helpful. So I'm going to use my flat brushes for this activity. All right, to start out, I do have it a little bit started, but I'm just going to go right back over it. So I'm going to start actually in my highlight here. And I'm going to start kind of with a big white splotch where my highlight would be. It's not going to be in stripes across. It's going to be curved. So your shadows will follow the curve of the object. So if it's round, then everything is going to be a sort of rainbow shape or form here, because this is a round ball. So everything on here, it's not going to be bands. It's going to follow the curvature of the object. So I'm going to start with a nice circle there. And then I'm going to start working in some blue. So this is going to be similar to your activity where you were smoothly blending green. And I'm going to put some blue here because I think that this is going to be kind of my mid-tone, which will be more of the hue itself. And I'm going to curve my blue around. So it's not just a giant stripe of blue. I want it to curve around. There we go. And then I'm going to start working my blue toward the white. And then I'm going to use either using overlapping brush strokes, or I can also use my, my stippling. I've got a couple other options. Now I'm washing my brush off right here because I want to make sure that when I go to blend more of my colors together, I want to make sure that I'm not just going to be eventually have all the same tones. So I'm going to bring more of my highlight out. All right, so I've got sort of my highlight here. Now I'm going to start working more blue into this edge, and then I'm going to start working black in as my low light. My cast shadow here goes right where the ball touches, and then it starts to go out from there. I'm starting with black because that's my darkest color here. And I'll add more blue in as it gets farther away from the object itself.